We're not at Windrock.
We are not at Windrock. We're out here at Portsmouth Island, North Carolina. It is a little island way off the coast of the Outer Banks, and we are going to spend 48 hours with a Kawasaki Ridge to tell you what this thing is like to live with day in, day out, night in, night out, and maybe do a little bit of fishing.
We're gonna do a little bit of camping, but mostly we are gonna spend as much time as possible in the Kawasaki Ridge, learn as much as we can about it, find out its ins, its outs, its highs, its lows, so we can tell you what it's like to live with.
So just a reminder on the Ridge, there are 3 basic trims. The Ranch Edition is the bare bones. This limited guy is super Gucci. It's got power windows, HVAC, all the niceties you'd possibly want. XR trim is more for the off-road weekend hustler. Remember, this thing has a 999cc inline 4-cylinder engine, a traditional CVT, 4-wheel drive with turf mode, all controllable by really nice switches and touchscreens inside the cab. This rig gets along with 92 horsepower. It's not the most potent version you can get, but in our experience, we really haven't missed that extra grunt. We're gonna find out if that's true wheeling around here in this sand where horsepower is your friend. The rig behind us, as it sits without all the camping and fishing gear, $33,499. Let's go have some fun. We have officially been on this island for 24 hours and it has been unreal. Fishing has been not great, but even when you're fishing and the fishing's not great, you're having a good time because you're sitting there looking at the water. I've been coming to the North Carolina coast since I was a kid and I have never seen it like this. Last night, we were the only people around for miles. We had this entire place to ourselves. It's excellent, and the Ridge has been part of that party. I've got to say, this little sucker has surprised me quite a bit. This is a deep market. You've got long established vehicles like the Can-Am Defender and the Polaris Ranger that are just waiting to take Kawasaki's lunch money when it comes to playing around in the upscale utility market. So far, the Ridge is proving to hold its own. That little 4-cylinder has plenty of grunt for slogging through the sand. It'll maintain 25, 30 miles an hour, just bopping along comfortable as can be. HVAC is keeping us super cozy. Yesterday it was up into the 90s and we were totally fine. Usability wise, the bed is excellent. It's at a good height. There are slots in the bed that make it excellent for throwing a rod in the back, which hey, out here, that's pretty great. Not everybody's gonna have that use case, but right now we do, so we're loving it. I gotta say, I've been really impressed with the interior visibility and space. You can see everything out of this thing. It's easy to see where the corners are. There's no problem backing this thing up, which is a good thing because using the backup camera is kind of a pain. You've got to thumb through a bunch of menus to get the thing to come on instead of just throwing it into reverse and having the camera come on automatically like happens in other vehicles. Staying inside, there's also a lot of space. I'm kind of guilty of taking a million pairs of shoes with me on trips like this. I got hiking boots, I got cowboy boots, I got sandals, the whole 9 yards. All of that stuff is crammed in here and there's still plenty of room for 3 dudes. That's pretty impressive. The bed's also a really good size. It's got plenty of room for camping gear, coolers, chairs. All of our fishing stuff is in the back of this rig, and this has kind of become our default fish out of machine. We'll park other rigs at camp, bust this thing out to the water at night after dinner, throw a line in the water. It's pretty great. There are some things that I'm not loving though. These tires are kind of small and it's not really helping with how much this thing tram lines in the sand. You get out there in a couple of ruts and you just sort of ping pong your way through it, and it's kind of hard to climb your way up out of the ruts because the tires are so small. These are 27s. At this point, we're used to seeing 30s, 31s, even 33s come factory on machines. This looks a little bit on the golf cart side, and Kawasaki's sort of showing its workhorse roots. The only other thing that really bums me out is this windshield is not a tilt-out windshield. Aaron's bopping around in the Polaris Expedition right now. That thing opens up wide, and on a day like this, where it's nice and cool, you got a good sea breeze, that's pretty great. The windshield is really high quality though. It's nice glass, it seals really well. Last night we had a surprise thunderstorm. Everybody was beating the bushes to get to a rig to stay dry. This thing kept us nice and dry through that whole thing. All right, so that's the first 24 hours. We've got another 24 hours to go. We're gonna find out if there's anything else that bugs us or that we particularly like about this machine. We'll catch you here in a little bit. Boop, boop,
48 hours are almost up. We're gonna hit the ferry in a couple hours, and that will be 48 on the button. So our time, 48 hours at the Ridge, is coming to an end. How'd it go? What did you think?
Well, you know, it's funny. I was reading some of the comments right before we left about the last video that we had out on this thing, and one of the commenters specifically said that there's a lot of heat and noise in this machine. So part of the reason I wanted to come out here and spend a little bit more time with it was just to find out if maybe I just sort of glossed over that in some of our shorter experiences with the thing. And in reality, no. I mean, any enclosed cab side by side is going to be inherently louder than one with just an open cab, because the sound can get out. It can go literally anywhere. I thought this thing was relatively quiet for a closed cab utility rig. I didn't really have any heat issues with it. HVAC works great. I mean, it's a pretty good little machine. You know, it certainly wasn't the fastest rig we have ever experienced. The way I wound up thinking about it, it's like a plucky little donkey, you know? Like it wants to have a little bit of fun. It will do all the work that you want to do. No, it's not a thoroughbred. No, it's not a racehorse. But, you know, it'll be there when you want it to be there, which is kind of what you want out of a machine like this.
So when we had this thing in Virginia, I put it head to head with a Polaris Ranger, and I thought it came out on top. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I watched that video, and then, you know, again, that's why I was excited to come down here. You know, I can see it. I can totally see it. I get how this thing can 100% keep its head above water with things like the Ranger and the Defender. Both of those things have been around for a really long time. Can-Am and Polaris both have really sharpened those machines. This thing is right there in the running. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive when you know, spec them out identically, but on some level, you're paying for the Kawasaki badge.
Yeah.
You know? This thing comes with a 3-year warranty.
Which is wild.
That's wild. Even Polaris, when they trotted out the 2025 Ranger, that just comes with a 2-year warranty, and they were stoked to be like, we've doubled the warranty. Well, here's another year. And that's kind of what you buy when you come for a Kawasaki, so.
Well, and it's also impressive, and I think it's worth noting that, like you said, those two other rigs have been around forever. This is an all-new platform, and Kawasaki pretty much nailed it right off the rip. You know, usually there's teething problems here and there, and man, if the Ridge does have any teething problems, they're kind of hard to see. So I can't wait to see where they end up with this platform.
Yeah, same. All right, bud, we better hit the ferry.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Thank you so much for watching. Remember, check us out on utvdriver.com 5 days a week. We've got news, reviews, and buyer's guides. Head over to social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We will see you there.